For the next recipe, you will be using a frozen bag of broccoli florets. You're going to be using mild fat-free cheddar. We're going to be using 1 whole cup of that. You'll need salt and pepper for seasoning. We're going to use half of a white onion. We have 9 eggs here. You'll be using 1/2 cup of fat-free half and half. And 1 whole tablespoon of, I can't believe it's not butter. And then I have 4 slices of turkey bacon on this paper towel that we're also going to be using in this recipe. Trick for crispy turkey bacon is to cook it in the microwave on a paper towel. It works so good. I'll show you once it's done what it looks like. So I place it on top of a paper towel and then I cover it on top with another paper towel. And then you just pop this in to the microwave and cook it for 4 slices, we're going to do about 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay, next I'm going to cut up my half onion and my 2 stalks of green onion. And I'm just going to fast forward cutting this because you guys all know how to cut veggies, I'm sure. Okay, the bacon is done. See, it got pretty crispy. I could have probably left it in a little longer, but this will do because we're still going to bake it. So I'm going to take my scissors and just cut up little slices. And then I'll also cut those slices in half so that everything's pretty small. See, listen. Crispy. I'm also going to add a pinch of garlic powder. I didn't show that in the beginning, but I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder. I'm going to take your 1/2 cup of half and half. And you're just going to mix that together. You're going to mix in your scallions, your onions, and your cheese. Okay, now the broccoli is done. I just did the steamable broccoli in the microwave. So now it's done. You're going to take your scissors and just cut up your broccoli into small pieces. Now that the broccoli is done, add that into your mixture. And give it a good whisk. Take your dish that you're going to be using. I'm going to spray it. So that nothing sticks. And then you're going to add your 1 tablespoon of your melted butter. Pour in your mixture. Now add your bacon pieces onto the top. Kind of just mix that in with it. On the top of this, I'm going to add a little bit more black pepper. There we go. And a tiny bit more garlic powder. There. Okay, now I'm going to go bake this on 400 for about 30 minutes. I do have a gas oven stove, so it might be a little different for your stove. So just make sure you check it and stick a fork through, and if it looks done and there's nothing on the fork, then it's probably all ready to go. So just keep that in mind. My oven is a little bit different. I just don't want yours to come out burnt or undercooked. So just wanted to note that. It's done. It looks delicious. I'm going to go ahead and take it out of this dish and put it on a cutting board and then cut it up and put it in its containers. There we go. Okay, next for my snack for the week, I'm going to be making a Greek salad. I'm going to be using some garbanzo beans for this. I'm going to be using olive oil balsamic vinaigrette. You could use a fat-free one, but I decided I really just wanted to use the real thing. You'll need some feta crumbled cheese. Again, you could lower the points by using reduced fat, but I really just enjoy real feta, and it is going to be for a snack, so I'm okay with using a little bit of points for the cheese because everything else is 0 besides dressing. I'm going to be using a cucumber, a red onion, 2 tomatoes, and a green pepper. So I'm going to go ahead and cut up the veggies and drain and rinse the garbanzo beans, and I will show you what I do next. Okay, I have the beans rinsed and put in this bowl. Now I'm going to cut up the veggies, and then I will put the cheese in and the dressing. So I'm going to go ahead and just fast forward through cutting the veggies, and I'll show you what I do after I cut the veggies. I'm going to add the seasonings, and for the seasonings I'm going to be adding some red pepper flakes. So I'm going to add just a little bit of that. I like spice, but if you don't, then just eliminate that altogether. I'm going to add some dried parsley. Dried Italian. I'm going to add some garlic powder. Some pepper and some salt. So we're going to add the balsamic vinegar. Make sure to give it a really good shake. And this has olive oil in it. That's why I really wanted to get this one, because this salad definitely needs some olive oil, and it has it in the dressing. To add 4 tablespoons for now, and I'm going to mix it together and see if I need to add any more. See, like everything's coated and wet, so I'm just going to do the 4 tablespoons, and then I'm going to add 1/4 cup of feta. And this is the real feta. This isn't like reduced fat. So here's 1/4 cup of the feta. Just going to pop that in there, give it a good mix. This looks so good. Wow. Okay. There we go. It is all done. I'm going to store this in some containers. So for my lunch, I'm going to be making a Cajun shrimp and sausage sheet bake. That's a mouthful. So I have some shrimp here. This is about 1 pound of shrimp. I'm going to be using this turkey sausage, hardwood smoked, 68% less fat. I'm going to be using a red bell pepper, 2 squash, and 2 zucchinis. That's what I'm going to use for my veggies. And then I'm going to season it with Tony's. This is the best Cajun seasoning around. So that's all you need. You don't need salt or pepper, you just need this. And then you'll also want to be using some vegetable oil to make sure you spray everything very well. So I'm going to go ahead and cut up the veggies and the sausage, and I will show you what it all looks like once it's done. I decided to just use 1 zucchini and 1 squash because I don't think I have enough room for the others, so I'm just going to go ahead and save these 2 because I didn't realize how big those squash and zucchini were. They were very large, so I don't need to use all of them. Okay, now that everything is in the dish, you're going to go ahead and spray it with some vegetable oil. This just helps it get really crispy. Now sprinkle your seasoning all over. And then mix it together and then add more on the other side of the veggies. You want everything really coated in this seasoning. Coat, just sprinkle that all on there. And we're going to pop it into the oven. Alright, the Cajun bake is done and it looks so good. I don't know if you guys can like tell how char it is. The sausage and the veggies look amazing. Guys, a little close up. This is going to be a super good lunch. Alright, for the next recipe, this is going to be for dinner, and I'm making a miso butter pork chop. So what you'll need for veggies is just a white onion. We're not going to be using all of this white onion, probably just half. You'll need 4 cloves of green onion. You'll need juice of 1 lime. And then we're going to be using some minced garlic, some ginger. I'm going to use ginger paste, but you can go ahead and use fresh ginger if you have it. We're going to use a little bit of sesame oil, soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 teaspoons of sugar. This is cane sugar. And then we're going to be using salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And then I'm going to be using this miso soup mix. If you have miso paste, you can go ahead and use that. But this is pretty much paste. You just have to mix it with some water, and I will show you how to do that. And you'll also need some pork chops. I'm using lean pork chops, and there's 8 pork chops here. So you'll need as many as you want, but for this recipe, I'm going to be doing it strictly for 8 pork chops. Okay, first I'm going to get the miso paste ready. You can find this miso paste at Walmart. They have it, Publix has it. It's down the Asian aisle. So most all grocery stores should carry these, and they come with 3 packets. The packets into the bowl. And in the packets, there's little pieces of tofu. I'm going to go ahead and just take those out. But there is some nori and green onions dried in here, and I'm going to go ahead and leave those. But I am just going to pop out the tofu. It's all 3 packets, so I'm going to add a little bit of water. Okay, so I used all of the 1/3 cup of water. Now I'm going to add into the miso the 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Mix that together. I'm going to add half a tablespoon of garlic, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and then 1/2 tablespoon of ginger. And then I'm going to add some soy sauce. This is a half of a tablespoon. I can't find my tablespoon, so I'm using that. I added 4 tablespoons of soy sauce. We're also going to be adding 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. There's 1/2. Add 1 more. Next, I'm going to add the juice of 1 lime. And then for seasonings, I'm going to just go ahead and add it into this. So I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder. Kind of go heavy on the pepper because this dish tastes really good with lots of pepper. Take my green onion and I cut the green part off. That's going to go last into the dish, but I am going to use the lighter part of the green onion, and I'm going to go ahead and chop that up, and then I'm going to put it into the mixture. And give that a good whisk, and put it to the side. Now you're going to place all of that into this bowl. Next, take your marinade, and we're just going to pour that over the pork. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and let this sit. I'm going to try to let it sit as long as possible. I'll end up letting you know how long that is because I'm going to meal prep the other things. But ideally, obviously, the longer you let it marinate, the better it's going to taste. But I'd say a minimum of 30 minutes. And then if you can go beyond 30 minutes, that's even better. So I will leave on the screen how long I let this sit. Alright, so I let the pork chops marinate for 2 hours. And now I'm going to go ahead and put them in the cast iron pan and cook them up. Alright, now I'm going to take the pork chops and start cooking the first batch. So I'm just going to let this cook up, and I'm just going to keep turning it over and let it cook through. Now that the pork has seared on its sides, we're going to go ahead and finish it off in the oven. Okay, now that it's done, I'm going to add some fresh green onions. And some sesame seeds is optional. Cooked just the way I like it. Looks so good. This is such good pork. This recipe is amazing. We'll be making the deluxe stir fry with this dinner. Okay, last peep. And now I'm going to go pack it up.